We would like to acknowledge the Yagara people and the Turrbal people as the traditional custodians of Mianjin, the lands in which we record this podcast today. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Hey everyone, and welcome to For the Health Podcast, a Healthcare Australia podcast.
Made for healthcare professionals by nurses on the inside. My name is Jessica.
And I'm Xana, and we are doing a yearly wrap-up podcast today. Just a little bit of a lighthearted, fun episode for the end of the year. We know everyone is going to be on their festive seasons and doing festive things and not that much time to listen to a podcast. So we thought we'd just wrap up how Healthcare Australia has, ended the year, what we've got planned for next year, and also just going to go through a few funny nursing stories. They're going to be a little bit gross, some of them, a little bit confronting, but we're all here for the journey. So we really hope that you enjoy this podcast. It's going to be a bit of fun. HCA has done a lot of things this year and we've got a lot of things planned for you for 2023. So we actually have scrubs coming, which everyone, hopefully knows about, which we've been pushing for so long and we finally got them. They are so comfy. They're quick dry. They're just really good quality scrubs. They're made by an Australian company.
So stylish. Everyone loves jogger bottoms. Every nurse, hands down, loves jogger bottoms. So they're dark purple top, scrub top, lots of pocket space. The pants are cargo with jogger bottoms. You got two big pockets on the side. They're
going to be so good. They're going to be so good. No more need for any fanny packs around. No. You just need your scrubs.
No nursing fanny packs allowed. And during COVID as well, those little nurse bag fanny pack things, they shouldn't be allowed.
They're banned.
They're not allowed anymore. Yeah. So now we've got extra pockets so that you nurses and healthcare workers and midwives and all that can put stuff in your pockets.
Yes, and other things we have coming for next year is that all our metro workers now are going to be getting an education bonus. How that looks, we're not 100% sure yet. It's still in the works, but you definitely will be getting an education bonus that you'll be able to use on any course that is healthcare related to improve yourself or just for fun, whatever you want to do. You could do your ALS, you could do your PALS, which is pediatric life support. You could do a rural and remote course. You could do really anything, and all you have to do is complete the course, get your certificate, send your reimbursement form, and you'll get that money back up to a certain amount, of course.
And you can even do online courses as well. So if you're busy and you can't lock in to do a face-to-face course, there are so many online platforms now. Xana do some amazing online learning packages that you can actually get the education bonus to be paid for. And then also ECT for Health are a really great organisation that do online packages as well. So much variety. So originally Rural Remote Division had that, and it was 6-week placement, $500 towards education, and then a 12-week placement is $1,000, which is great. And now that's rolling over to Metro, which is so exciting. So everyone can now have access to education with Healthcare Australia.
Yeah, and you can also do immunisation certificate as well, which is really good to do. COVID hopefully is over, but vaccinations, flu vaccinations is all coming around again. So you can also do that and work in the immunisation space, which is a little bit of a break from, on the floor critical nursing if you wanted a break from that too. So that's always fun. Yeah. We also have some gala dinners coming to 2023 to show appreciation to all of our nurses and our healthcare staff. So that will include all healthcare staff that work for Healthcare Australia. Yes. And there'll be gala dinners in every state. So hopefully none of you miss out unless you're on a rural remote contract, can't get there, but they're also going to try and accommodate that as well. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some awards and hopefully we'll be there for all of them. So we'll hopefully and
then you can meet us face to face, which would be so great.
Yes.
There's nothing better than being acknowledged. I think when you're in a workplace, and this is why a lot of people do come to agency, and it's definitely why I went to agency. And, sometimes you feel like you just don't get acknowledged in your workplace and you just don't, get appreciated.
Yeah.
And especially with the pay as well. And that's why a lot of people come into this space of the agency world. So you get better pay, better conditions. And we want to just treat you guys and say we acknowledge you and we respect you and we're just so thankful to have you on board with Healthcare Australia. So these gala dinners are going to be perfect addition.
Exactly, they are. And then the last one is just a whole realm of different giveaways that they're going to be giving out throughout the year. We don't know what they are. I don't know if anyone knows what they are yet, but there's a lot of money to give away, so stay tuned for that. There is also the 12 weeks of Christmas that's going on right now, so good luck. And if you have got your hands on one of those goodies, well done. I want a little gift card to come in the mail for Christmas. We're all a little bit poor coming into Christmas, so gift cards are always great.
If you don't know what these gift cards are and what we're kind of talking about and how to actually see the promotions that Healthcare Australia put out, you need to be on our socials.
Yes.
So you got to go onto Instagram and follow healthcare.australia We have a TikTok account, which is
We
Healthcare
do.
Australia. We've got a Facebook page for Healthcare Australia. And like that's the way that we kind of are trying to communicate with everyone. So instead of just sending out an email, every few weeks, we actually daily, like every day, we're updating those social media accounts. So if you want to see first up what is happening, you need to be on those platforms.
Definitely.
Especially with the giveaways.
Yeah, we all want to get the giveaways, duh. But yes, that's just a little highlight of what's coming in for 2023. We hope to see more of you and chat to more of you and get more of you into the agency lifestyle because it's just absolutely amazing. And for those who, I guess, maybe aren't ready to do the more agency style roles, we actually have a perm team, which is a permanent recruitment team. And you can either move from overseas and get a permanent job and we can help you relocate. There are relocation incentives and relocation packages as well. So that can help you get a job in Australia that does have some sort of visa for, getting a permanent residency and things like that. Or you can actually be someone who's already in Australia and has Australian citizenship and want to move states and they can help you in the same way.
Yeah. Say you live in WA and you're like, I really want to move to Victoria or like NT or something. Our perm team can actually help spruce up your resume. This is all free of charge to you guys as well. We spruce up your resume. They actually will headhunt and look for positions for you, sort out your interview dates, and you just turn up to the interview and then bam, you got a job.
Exactly. So it's super easy for those who are a little bit scared to join agency, but it's still, through HCA and they help you guide through that process. So win-win-win.
We literally have everything, I'm telling
you.
you.
But we want to just go into some funny stories. We just wanted this podcast to be a little bit lighthearted, share some of our stories from the year and things that we've experienced over the time. So do you want to start with one of your workplace wobbles?
Always, yes. So we're doing a section called Workplace Wobbles where we tell a funny story. So I've been a nurse for over 10 years now. It sounds so weird when you say it out loud. Like I feel old. But, I am getting old. But 10 years to the best career ever. But of course, in 10 years, I'm going to accumulate some funny stories.
Oh, yeah.
And every time we do episodes, we're going to try and, unlock and unleash some of these funny stories for you guys. So this is not too gross, this one. I try to, cut back on the grossness because there's some gross ones coming later. Just a simple one. I was taking a patient's sugar. This was like literally only a few months ago. Got the glucometer set, got my little lancet out, did a little prick, squeezed, and then it said, when the little monitor says error, and you're like, oh no, I've got to squeeze again. So I changed my little strip and I did it again. I was like, oh, hopefully you're still bleeding. So I was squeezing the finger, trying to see if any more blood would come out instead of having to, I don't want to re-prick the patient, right? If there's already been a prick, I'm going to retry and bleed it. I was squeezing and then all of a sudden it just squirted out and it went all in the side of my hair. I literally was like, pew, and I was like, oh my God. I got the blood out. I got to do it again, but I did look in the mirror after and I had blood droplets smeared all through my hair. So, always wear your PPE. You got to wear your glasses when you're doing things like that because bodily fluids can get into your eyeballs.
Yeah, I think goggles is a one that a lot of us kind of forget because it's something you know to put on your gown, you know to put on your gloves because they're usually out the door. Yeah. But when you're doing things so quickly, sometimes the goggles are quite hard to remember and there's something that you do forget.
And for a basic sugar check, you do not think just lancing a little finger and getting a sugar, it's going to squirt in your eye. You just really don't think that. But, it can happen.
It definitely can happen, and it does happen. So
it does. It happened to me not long ago. So,
be safe out there, guys. Yeah, even just emptying a catheter, be careful. Put your goggles on because those things spray.
That happened to me on my shift on the weekend.
Yes.
I was putting the little thingy back and it just went splash.
This isn't even my story. But, when you're filling up a urine jug, you're trying to empty your catheter. Yeah. You're filling up the jugs. It doesn't fit in one jug. So, it never fits in one jug. So you bring two, you rest one there, and then you fill up the other one. I was resting one there, and it fell over.
No.
Yeah, it did. And that was not fun. It went all under the bed. So that was joy to clean up.
Do you know what's worse? When a hospital has carpet.
Why would anyone do that?
Why do they do that? They have carpet.
Private hospitals. It is no. Because
the little side, it dripped on the floor, and I couldn't clean it, could I? No.
No, those carpets are full of all different sorts of bodily fluids down there. Don't even think about it.
Oh, what about your workplace wobble?
Oh, well, my first one is actually a shift that I did very recently. It was after being a brand ambassador for a few months. So we were settling into the role for a little while. So we stopped kind of clinical work for maybe 3 or 4 months while we were settling into the role and learning everything there was to know about Healthcare Australia. And I decided I'd go back for a shift in ICU. So I went back. I think it was my second shift back after working and starting this job. And I was half an hour into my shift. The nurse had been like, oh, yeah, nothing's happened overnight. She just came in. She had CAGs by 3. She's got some, pacing. She's got a pacing box there. Everything's fine. No ectopics. No, nothing's happened. I was like, oh, great. Sounds like a great night. Literally, she walked away. And I think within 10 minutes, this woman just went asystole. I was standing in the room and luckily the doctor was in there and he was also assessing the patient at the same time. So he was in there and
Very lucky.
it started with a pause, like a whole screen pause. And I was like, that's unusual. She said nothing's happened with the pacing. Nothing weird has happened at all with her heart rate. And then I was like, that's odd. And the doctor looked up and he also was like, oh, that's strange. And then next screen, she came back for like a few beats and next screen was full asystole.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, God, it's 7:30. I haven't even drunk my coffee yet. I haven't had breakfast. Like, this woman was supposed to be fine. And so not actually what we're supposed to do for an open chest, but the doctor advised me to start CPR. So we started CPR, call for help, obviously started that whole process. This poor woman was like coming back to life while we were doing CPR, and then it was this whole thing. And so she was trying to tell us to stop, but then as soon as we stopped, her pacing would stop.
Oh, no.
Anyway, it turned out that something was going on with the pacing box, and she only had ventricular pacing on when she actually needed atrial pacing, so we ended up swapping it back over, and she was absolutely fine.
There we go.
But far out, that was an experience
At the beginning of the shift too. So I think a side note of this is like what you've learned is like have breakfast and coffee.
Yeah.
Breakfast, coffee, go to the toilet, all that jazz before you get handed over your patient because you never know. 10 minutes after, bam.
I know. And the poor woman was like, oh, I remember I was just sitting there talking to the doctor and all of a sudden everything went black and then I woke up and people were on my chest and I was like, oh, gosh, I'm so sorry.
I know, it's
so
very
sorry.
traumatic. But
luckily she was fine and it was just a pacing issue and they had, the pacing wires were not working properly and she was being paced in the wrong place that she was supposed to be getting paced. So anyway, she ended up going for a pacemaker later that day and all was well.
All was well. She survived.
That's my first one. The next one, not so nice, but maybe
Yeah,
Jess can
nasty.
do her one first.
Oh, my second one. Okay. We're getting to more grosser stuff now.
Yeah.
'Cause we thought, light and easy to begin with and then gross.
Mm.
So this is when I was a grad nurse and there was this particular patient and we needed to get a stool sample. And it was something that was like high on the list, but it just kept never happening. Like everyone just kept missing it. They even put things in the toilet so that when she went to the toilet, but she kept removing it to do a wee because then, you can't obviously... You can't put the little pan in place and then wee in it and poop in it to get a sufficient sample.
Isn't that the worst
right?
though when you come onto shift and it's like the person's like, oh yeah, poo sample's due, haven't been able to get it, or like wee sample, haven't been able to get it. It's like sometimes you think, did you actually try?
I mean, all
do you
the
just
time.
palm it off?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that too. We all do it. We're all guilty. Sometimes we just don't have
sometimes
the time,
like, oh god, just hand it over.
But I understood putting it into the little toilet. They don't want to pee on it, so she kept taking that out. But then she's like, oh, it started pooping, so how am I supposed to get it? And I was like, yeah, I get you. So anyway, we'll going to the toilet and she's like, I really need to go do a poo. And then I was like, no, we need to get this sample. So I had my gloves on and I was trying to put the little pan into the toilet so I could try and capture it. But she started weeing and then I could see her pooping and then it is my reflex. I caught some of the poop with my hand and I was like, aha! I have the poo! And I was so proud of myself. And I walked out and I went up to the nurse's desk and I was like, I got the sample.
I feel like that should get nurse of the year.
Yeah, I know. And then I went into the little room and I got my little spoon and I spooned it on into the little cup and I was so proud of myself. And this is just no one even was grossed out. They're just like, hell yeah, you got it. That's great. Because this is what nurses have to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't contaminated because there was no wee-wee on it. And, and I'm pretty sure she did come back with something in that too.
Yeah, well then there
and
you
then
go.
we were able to treat it because we actually had the sample. So
exactly.
Go me.
Got to go to some extremes sometimes.
Thank goodness I had gloves on. I'd honestly.
Yeah.
But, I never thought I'd be,
it could have gone very bad.
Collecting poop in my hand, but
but
you
isn't it the worst
what you gotta do.
when you've got the gloves on and you're wiping someone and the glove breaks? That's happened multiple times. Yeah.
Yep. Keep tuned on our social media because we're going to be doing some really funny TikToks about this, red, brown, triple gloving.
Yes.
We've got all these cool plans for that, but yeah, that's a nasty
Nobody
one.
wants a glove split and then find yourself, finger deep in poo. It's not good. Not good.
All right, hit us with your disgusting story.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to keep this semi-PG because it's pretty gruesome.
No, I think go hardcore. This is
I'm giving a trigger warning out there. If you have an upset stomach with bodily fluids or gross things, please tune out now, maybe for the next 5 minutes and come back. So I had a patient, again, in ICU because I obviously work in ICU, and it was in Sydney. And he was actually an inmate, and so he was a corrections patient that came to us. So we had all these bodyguards and everything outside, and he had actually come in and he was a regular offender, and he was a regular offender for swallowing razor blades.
Right.
So this just is something that
It's
me and
very common.
Jess have both worked in corrections.
Very common in a prison setting.
And it's an interesting thing, whether that's just the thing that they can get their hands on, whether that's the thing that they, you know, trade or what they can find. I guess it comes in their commissaries because they can, obviously they need to shave. So it's something that is, you know, I guess dangerous that they are allowed access to, but obviously somehow the tracking of those gets lost. And they end up in people's stomachs and intestines. And this guy obviously had severe mental health issues. None of this is obviously something that any, you know, sane person would do. But he obviously swallowed a lot of razor blades, and he had been consistently swallowing razor blades for many, many years, to the point that he had a permanent stoma and he was never able to have that closed because he would just, instead of swallowing the razor blades, he would then just cut the stoma open and pull his intestines out through the stoma. And it just kept happening that this stoma wound was so large and horrific that it could never, ever be repaired.
I think the people that are listening to this, I mean, most people listening to this are healthcare workers and they should know what a stoma is. But do you want to just let us know what a stoma is?
So basically they make a little, exit for your intestine. So it can be something that is along your intestine and it's like something that's temporary to give the rest of your intestine a break. Or it can be something where they basically, end your intestine and they create the stoma, and then for the rest of your life you do poo into a bag.
So basically you don't poo where you normally poo.
Yes.
You have a bum hole.
Yes. It's
stomach.
a made bum hole. And to be honest, it looks like a bum hole.
We're going to say bum hole because that's actually what it is. It's a surgically made bum hole.
Yes.
In your stomach. It's coming through your stomach.
Abdomen.
And so you poop into a little bag.
Yeah.
So if he's swallowing razor blades, he's obviously not going to be pooping it into the toilet. The blades are just going to come through his little man-made bum hole.
Yes, well, they don't usually get that far because they cause a lot of damage on the way, and he ends up needing to get them removed. So he's had a lot of endoscopies, a lot of gastroscopies. It was a bad time, and the poor guy, I just think he's just going to go back and do the same thing. But
that's gross.
You see some shit. You definitely see some shit.
You really do. Never a dull day.
Never a dull day.
We definitely really, when we started doing the podcast, we didn't really want to do these stories originally because we were like, oh, nah, it's just, just too gross. But now we're realizing this is a healthcare podcast and this is what we do.
Yeah.
And Georgie Carroll inspired us to be more open about this.
Definitely.
Hilarious. So if you're listening to this and you have a story, which 100% all of you will have a story because every single healthcare worker has a story.
Oh, yes.
Send them in to us. If you go into Healthcare Australia, actually just DM us and just be like, hey, I really got a funny story I want to share with you.
Yeah.
We would love to read it and we'd love to just have a giggle with you about that situation. Mm-hmm. So just gold. We have another one that's being sent in and someone messaged us and said that he farted and it somehow caused a code blue, like a Met call.
Yes.
And I need to know the backstory of that.
I found out this backstory. So it is someone that works for Healthcare Australia, and shout out to Matt. He works for Healthcare Australia, and we are really hoping to get him on the podcast because his stories are absolutely hilarious, and he definitely will be listening to this. And he did tell me this at the Christmas party, and he is an absolute legend. He just kept being like, you want another one? You want another one? He's got so many stories.
So tell me, because I don't know what happened.
So I mean, it's obviously not my story to tell, and I'm sorry, Matt, if I get any details wrong, but basically he was specialing a child. It was in, I don't think it was in a mental health ward, but he was specialing a child that had severe autism. So he had severe sensory issues and severe responses to sensory overload. And poor Matt had something very heavy to eat the night before. Oh, no. And he was obviously digesting that and really, really needed to poo. Unfortunately, he was specialing this patient and he had nowhere to go. So he decided to just step outside the room for a minute and do a little fart. Unfortunately, the kid then also ran out of the room and was like, where are you going? Basically, and chased him out of the room. Oh, no. Ran into his fart. And because he has severe sensory issues, he reacted severely badly to this very bad fart smell. And this poor child had he wasn't having a seizure, but he had seizure-like activity. He was throwing himself around on the floor because he didn't know how to cope with this smell. And so everyone was running to this poor kid. Everyone was like, what's happening, Matt? Like, is there a Met call? Blah, blah, blah. And Matt just had to awkwardly say, it's all right, guys. He's not having a seizure. I just farted. And he had to tell the parents.
Okay, I'm losing it.
He had to tell the parents that he farted, and the parents were like, oh, no.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you had to write in the notes as well. You had to write, patient responded to flatulence by me, basically in the notes.
Oh, wow.
Poor guy.
Oh my God. I'm like losing it right now.
I know.
Because I only knew the beginning. I just knew that he said...
Yeah.
I have a story and it's to do with a fart and I caused like a Met call, code blue kind of situation. And I was like, I need to know what happened.
Yeah, Matt, that was just one of Matt's fabulous stories. So we have to definitely get him on. There's another one that's, we might add to an R-rated playlist because it's a little bit much. I'll tell you off air and you guys hopefully will find out soon.
So funny.
But so funny.
A great way to end the episode. Though, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we've got to go into a few nurse hacks though. Because we also want to share some nurse hacks with you. We're also going to be doing some TikToks of some funny nurse hacks because you have all shared so many good nurse hacks with us. So, I mean, this one's probably like a self-known nurse hack, when you're putting a catheter in for someone. Obviously, putting in a male catheter, there's only one place to put it. So we're not talking about male catheters here.
We're talking about the female anatomy
We're talking about female catheters or vulva owner catheters. There is obviously multiple holes there. And it's often hard to find. It's often hard to see.
3 holes.
Yes. And we don't necessarily always know where it is because everyone's especially female anatomy, it's all so different. And there's been many a time that all of us have put it in the wrong hole, the catheter in the wrong hole.
I'm a female, and I get confused down there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Male's much easier. But in this exact case, always prepare yourself for 2 catheters of the same size and also have a different size as well because you never know if that catheter is going to be too small or too large and you're not going to get it in. Everyone's anatomy is different. Mm-hmm. So always at least have 2 catheters in your pack that are open and ready to go. Or at least if they're not open and ready to go, have someone on standby that's there to hand you one that's ready to go. Because sometimes if you get it in the wrong hole, leave it there.
Yeah, don't ever take it out. If you're putting in a catheter and then you're looking for urine to, flow out and it's not coming out, you're like, okay, clearly it's in the wrong one. Don't take it out because I guarantee the next one you put in, you'll go on the same one.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you leave it in, there's 3 holes, right? It's going to get in the other one.
Yeah, and it's not the butthole. I'm sure we all know that one.
Okay, and there's only 2 holes it can go into. So if one is already occupied, you can get into the other one. So keep it in. And I remember it was like 6 years of me being a nurse before someone told me that. And I was like,
And when you do get it in the right hole, it goes in extremely smoothly and then you will get urine back, obviously straight away. So put it all the way to the end. And then if you get urine back, you're in the right spot. Happy days. Then obviously you can blow that balloon up and connect your catheter.
Yeah.
But also in this note, don't ever take it out of one hole and put it in another hole. Yes. Once it's in a hole, chuck it out or leave it in if it's in the right hole because that's caused bad contamination and you don't want any of the bad microflora from one hole to get into the other hole. Not good.
I was working over the weekend and we're having a discussion about catheters and one of the nurses explained to me it's a traffic light system. Okay. So you have your green, your orange and your red.
Yeah.
And and then you do it like that and you always got to go for the orange. Go for the orange.
Okay.
That's how he always taught me and I was like, that's good.
Go for the orange.
Yeah.
That's not even the order.
That's how we explained it.
Go for the green. Green's at the top.
Green's not at the top of a traffic light system. It's red, orange, green. Top to bottom.
I'm confused.
You got to start paying attention to the traffic lights.
Yeah, I'm confused of the order of that.
Okay, we'll check this over after. But when he said it to me, I was like, I like this system. It's great.
That's good. So Jess now has a nurse hack for you, which I actually didn't even know about and Jess didn't know about until recently. This is the weirdest thing.
I learned it on the weekend. I was working on a urology ward. Actually, this is not urology related at all, but that's the ward I was on. Anyway, we were talking about nursing hacks and I was like, give me your best nursing hacks. And he goes, oh, I noticed when you took the patient's sugars before, you applied the cotton ball onto their finger to stop the bleeding. And I was like, yeah.
That's what we do.
I mean, it's nice, isn't it, to give them the ball when they're bleeding. And he goes, you do realize you can make a little hat. And I was like, what do you mean a little hat? And then he showed me. So these are little packets that are in not every single glucometer, but most of them. And they're called non-woven balls. And if you actually open them up, they have a little opening hole and then you can put... Check it out. It goes over my finger. Weird. It's like a little hat. It's like if you actually investigate, it looks like a cotton wool ball. But then if you actually look, it's got this little stretchy band and you put your finger in it and it's a little finger hat.
Yeah, never knew that.
So if you're watching this on Spotify, YouTube, you can actually see a video of this podcast and I've got the little finger hat on my finger. But I didn't... 10 years I've been a nurse.
Yep.
I And I didn't even know this did this.
No.
What?
There's so many different uses for products that we don't know about, and then no one really knows about, no one really speaks about. So if you have any of those, if you know one product can also be used for something else or one thing, please tell us and please send your nurse hacks because we're all going to use them and they're so great.
The one that I always teach people in ED is like if you don't know where, like if you don't have any spare tourniquets, like, you know, because obviously we're trying not to use like reusable ones. They're trying to do like the once only, once only or one patient one, right? And sometimes you're just so low, and then some people just use the same ones because they don't want to, like, you know, not be able to do like blood and stuff. So if you actually just use the blood pressure machine like cuff and you put it on, there's always a mode on the screen that's for tourniquet, and you just put the blood pressure cuff on like normal and then click tourniquet and it will pump it up to the most perfect tightness for you, and then boom, it's a tourniquet.
Magic.
I did it all the time. I didn't even use tourniquets. I just use that consistently, and I used to teach people all the time. So that's another little nursing hack for you.
There you go. Well, yeah, please send them through. They're all great and hilarious, and we can use them in our everyday life because, you know, everyone loves a nurse hack. Everyone likes doing something a little bit quicker, a little bit easier than taking so long to do something because we only have limited time.
Yeah, we got to be quick.
We're all on a strict timetable when we're nurses. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. It's been a little bit light, a little bit fun, and we hope you all have a safe and merry holiday season. Yes. Please share with us if you're working on Christmas, if you're not working on Christmas, what your plans are. If you're in some remote, isolated, amazing location, please tell us where you are. Send us your photos. We'd love to see where you are. And otherwise we will all see you in the new year for another year of amazing agency life.
And if you see us clinically, always say hi as well.
Yes.
I'm off to Port Lincoln, actually, Port Lincoln, South Australia, for a contract at the end of January, which I'm super excited about. So if you see me and you're in the area,
and she's going to be ticking off her bucket list item of shark cage diving, which is going to be very sick.
Yeah, I choose contracts around areas that, like, I want to do things.
Yes.
So shark cage diving has been a huge one for me, and I want to be in Port Lincoln, which is very convenient.
And Jess has actually written a recent blog about her bucket list journey. She basically started her entire life journey based on a bucket list and wrote a blog about it. So if you want to head over to there, you just have to head into healthcareaustralia.com.au, go into the news section, go view all blogs, and all of our blogs are there. So you can read about what we're up to, what advice we have, and how to start this amazing journey. And if you are interested in joining us, there is a link in the bio as well. Otherwise,
we'll speak to you soon.
Eat lots of cake.
Into our DM.
Eat lots of cake, eat lots of turkey, be merry, and have fun. All right,
bye guys.
bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.